smiled, picked up his keys, and walked out without a word. I thought we were just taking a break until I saw the divorce papers. Waiting on the kitchen table, Emily stepped through the front door on a quiet Sunday evening, her suitcase rolling behind her and a carefree smile lighting up her face. Her cheeks were sun-kissed, her hair messy from the ocean breeze, and she looked like someone returning from the perfect vacation. She wrapped her arms around me. "It feels so good to be home," she laughed. I smiled back, not because I was happy to see her, but because I had already learned the truth. "How was the girls' trip?" I asked casually. "It was amazing," she replied without hesitation. "Wine tasting, hiking, late-night talks. Just girls having fun." I nodded slowly. Then I asked one simple question. "So, did you and Mike have a good time too?" Her smile disappeared instantly. For a split second, she forgot how to breathe. "Mike?" she whispered. "What are you talking about?" I watched panic spread across her face as she fumbled with the zipper on her suitcase, refusing to meet my eyes. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't accuse her. I simply said, "The Mike you called 3 times at 1:14 in the morning. The same Mike you spent the weekend with at a beach resort almost 2 hours away from where your friends actually stayed." Silence. The room suddenly felt colder. Finally, she looked at me. You checked my phone?" I shook my head. "No, Emily. You destroyed my trust long before I ever looked at anything." Her shoulders collapsed. She slowly sat down in the kitchen chair, tears already filling her eyes. "It's not what you think," she whispered. I almost laughed. Every betrayed spouse hears those exact words. "Then tell me what it is," I answered quietly. She cried before she spoke. Between broken sentences and long pauses, the truth finally came out. Mike had been a former co-worker. They reconnected online months ago. One innocent conversation became daily messages. Daily messages became secret phone calls. The girls' trip became an excuse to spend an entire weekend together. "It only happened once," she sobbed. "It didn't mean anything." I stared at her for several seconds. Then I asked the only question that mattered. "Was it worth it?" She couldn't answer. That silence told me everything. I walked toward the hallway. My suitcase was already waiting beside the front door. Her eyes widened. "You packed?" "I packed 3 days ago." "What? What does that mean?" Without saying another word, I returned to the kitchen and gently slid a thick envelope across the table. She looked down. Her hands started shaking before she even opened it. Inside were divorce papers. Her breathing became uneven. "You already filed?" "I filed the day after you left." I hoped I was wrong. I wasn't. She rushed toward me, grabbing my arm with both hands. "Please, don't do this. It was a mistake. I love you. I'll never do it again." For the first time all evening, I looked directly into her eyes. "You didn't accidentally betray me. You made hundreds of choices. The messages, the lies, the hotel, the trip. None of those were accidents." Her tears became uncontrollable. "I'll spend the rest of my life making this right." I gently removed her hands from my arm. Some things can't be repaired. When trust dies, love follows. I picked up my suitcase. She followed me to the front door, crying harder with every step. "Please don't leave. I'll quit my job. I'll block him. I'll do anything." I smiled sadly. The time to fight for our marriage was before you walked into someone else's hotel room. I grabbed my keys, opened the door, then walked away without looking back. I didn't slam the door. I didn't yell. The silence hurt far more than anger ever could. Over the following months, she called almost every day. Voicemails, texts, letters, flowers sent to my office. Even handwritten apologies slipped under my apartment door. I answered none of them. Eventually, I learned from a mutual friend that Mike had moved to another state only weeks after their affair ended. He never wanted a relationship. To him, she had simply been a temporary escape. She sacrificed our marriage for someone who disappeared the moment responsibility appeared. Nearly a year later, one final email arrived. It was long, honest, heartbreaking. At the very end, she wrote one sentence that stayed with me. You were the only person who ever truly loved me, and I destroyed that for something that never had a future. I closed the email without replying. Some endings don't need another conversation, they need acceptance. Looking back now, I realize the moment our marriage truly ended wasn't when she cheated. It wasn't when she confessed. It wasn't even when I signed the divorce papers. It ended the moment she walked through that front door smiling, believing her secret was still safe. Because by then, I already knew the truth. And sometimes the quietest goodbye leaves the deepest scar.